Good morning. Happy Thursday. I'm the Moon Mama. Today is the day that Jupiter governs. I made it to the South. I'm in North Carolina, in Asheville. And the South is so fascinating, considering America and what the history of this country is. We make it explicit in the South because the South actually had physical slavery, and plantations and crops that were run by slaves for hundreds of years. And the economy of the whole country was really built on slavery. So the South is significant. And when I was little, my family is from Shreveport, Louisiana, Lake Charles, Louisiana, New Orleans, and somewhere in Texas. And they took me to Louisiana when I was 10 years old, just for a visit. It was the first time I'd ever been. And I watched a black person step off the curb so a white person could walk by, and nearly lost my mind. And swore that I would never go to the South again. Now, of course, I was 10 years old, and I didn't realize that I was going to live, many, many, many more years. But I didn't go back to the South again until I was in my 40s. Probably about 5 years ago, my first trip back to the South. Well, let me say this. I went to school in Washington, D.C., and a lot of people call Washington, D.C. the South. So in that case, I did go. But I never went back to any of the Carolinas or Louisiana or anything like that until 5 years ago, because I just had to reconcile that experience. It was almost like it was something in my soul that was like, no, you're not going to subject yourself to that type of tyranny and betrayal and abuse. And so I didn't. But now that I'm coming back, like last year I came to North Carolina, and I was in Atlanta. I flew into Atlanta. It's so beautiful. Oh my God, look at this tree behind me. Look at that tree. Is that the most remarkable thing ever? And I'm surrounded by them. Look at all of these beautiful trees. Everywhere. And Atlanta is a forest, literally. My breath is taken away by these trees and the beauty and the lusciousness of the South. And I'm just always reminded that our blood is here. I am. Like, this is where my ancestors bled and died and were sacrificed in ways that is, in our humanity is almost unmentionable. But it's necessary that we do mention it, that we do understand it, that we do honor it for the purpose of garnering the energy and the power that comes from the experience that our ancestors had. It's very significant for us to understand that our ancestors were not victims. When we think of them in that way, but it's because we have a limited human understanding. And our ancestors were far more awake and aware of spiritual law and spiritual consciousness than we understand. The stories that we were told of the people who came from Africa are not accurate of who they were. We're told stories to keep us in the negative frequency so that we don't understand the reward of that level of oppression. Yes, there's a reward, the payoff of that level of discipline that is activated within our cell structure. It's just hidden behind the trauma. And if we do the work to heal the trauma, which is the work that I'm here with you all doing, talking about our ancestors and, the behavior patterns that come from them because of the trauma. One of the things I always do as often as I can is watch 12 Years a Slave, because it is a really good depiction of what our ancestors endured for 400 years, and that level of trauma wears down on you. So the brain that takes on a different formation, and the way you are in your body becomes different. But if that trauma is healed, who we are, the mind, the intelligence, the strength, the courage, the powers, the gifts, the magic, The magic is beneath the trauma. So the longer we keep telling these trauma stories, the longer we keep impacting ourselves with more trauma, the longer we delay our gifts and powers to be revealed. And that's the thing. And so today is a Jupiter day. And Jupiter is about faith. And Jupiter is in Capricorn right now. And Capricorn is the planet, the constellation that governs our personal authority. It really is external authority, but if you've been giving that external authority away to someone else, Jupiter says it's because Pluto's there, it's crumbling, and you've got to take that authority back. That authority is yours. And so you get to revisit all of these experiences that we have had here in America and translate them to power for yourself, like understanding, like, my God, what does it take for a human being to live through the crossing of the Atlantic Ocean under a ship, within a ship for months? What does it take? What kind of power does it take? Who are these beings that could do that? And they are our ancestors. We are the heritage of them. We are what came after. So we have that in us, in our cell structure. So it's very important for us to look and understand and take in the information and then see how that applies to us once we heal the trauma. Jupiter, like I said, Jupiter in Capricorn is asking us to have faith in ourselves. What is it that what authority can we garner and glean from those experiences, right? What powers, what gifts, what intuitions, what supernatural understandings of ourselves can we garner from really understanding and getting a grasp of what it means to be descendants of people who endured such devastating experiences and survived. Like this is something different, right? We're not taught this we weren't taught this in Christianity. The thing that I'm so aware of is what Christianity did that has usurped our power is that it gave us this one single God, this Jesus Christ. But that is not how it really is. The whole entire Black American community is the embodiment of Christ, is the embodiment. If you can see the story and how it resonates, the suffering, the oppression, the sacrifice that he did, that one story applies to all Black Americans. And we are all the inheritors of the Christ consciousness because of this experience here in America, which is the same experience the Bible talks about of the Jews in Egypt, right? And if you understand Egyptian, just Egyptian history, the truth is that there were no Jews in Egypt. Not in the Egypt that's in Africa. There were no Jews. There is no evidence of it. It's just a story that's been told. It's a myth. Anyway, so with that, I want you to begin to look at who you are. Who you are. That's the most important thing to understand right now. And the moon is about to shift into Capricorn. It's at the 29th degree of Sag. It's probably not even there anymore, but it's shifting into Capricorn. And Capricorn is, like I said, about our power. It's our external power. So how can you, for the next couple of days, with the moon in Capricorn and the sun in Virgo, looking at how can you perfect, how can you begin to look at your own personal power in ways that are healing and transformational for yourself, being of service to yourself, really serving yourself in a way that is for your well-being, in a way that is for the well-being of your community, not for others. Literally taking the power back from others. This is the most significant thing we can do. And one of the ways that we can take the power back is to begin to tell accurate stories about who we are and to begin to ascend. It's important for us to begin the process of ascension, which is what this work is about. Ascension is the process of outgrowing an old mental construct, outgrowing an old consciousness. And it means taking responsibility for your behavior, for your thoughts, for your feelings, for everything. Although the details, Virgo is in the details, it's all you. It's all you. So I encourage you today, as we are here with the moon in Capricorn and a Jupiter day, look at yourself. Look at how you think about yourself. Look at, the stories you're telling about your ancestors. And if you're telling a victim story, then you're inheriting the victim narrative and frequency into your experience. But if you're telling a story of people who were empowered and endured and who were gods, they literally, if you understand what the Africans who journeyed here, who are our ancestors, what they endured, if you really understood it, you would never tell a victim story about them. You would know that these people were unbelievable, unmatchable in power and strength. And those are the people that you are from. So you are powerful beyond measure. All right, use this energy today to begin to look at where you can take your power back, right? And it's things that might seem, far out, but it's really intimate things. It really is. Like, so for instance, yesterday I traveled here and I realized that I was here a day early because the person that I was traveling with needed to do something else, and I hadn't thought about it, and I didn't have a hotel room. I just got here and was like, oh, I don't have a hotel because we're a day early and my hotel's for tomorrow. And I just felt powerless. I just felt like, oh, now she's gonna have to let me stay with her. And I just noticed that, and I'm still working with that. And she totally, it's like, yes, you can stay here, and of course you can do this. Of course we can sleep in the same bed. It was nothing to her, but to me, I felt like I was like just this burden, and so that's a way that I'm going to be working with my energy today, so that I can truly know that wherever I am, I'm taken care of and provided for. That it is God's good pleasure to give me the kingdom, and that everything is mine, and we are completely resourced and sourced in all things in all ways. All right, you all, peace and blessings. I'm the Moon Mama. Look at these trees. Look at these trees. Goodness gracious. All right, bye.